All right, here we go. It's time. Time to do the show. Get the coffee ready. All right, let's do this thing in three, two, one. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Monday, September 23rd, 2019. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. I have no sign today. Put the sign away. That was silly. Oh, that's good stuff. Coffee. Well, guess what? Check this out. Not that. Nope, don't put that in there either. Isn't that cool? Yep, that happened this weekend. That was a big deal. Big shout out to Joey. And Justin for your help. It was a good time. Where do I have this patio door? Into my backyard. Game changing. Life changing. And what's interesting about it is that sometimes the things that impact your life don't seem like that big of a deal. Good morning, Frank. Frank says, "Good morning, Jeremy. It's 0630. What's the O stand for?" Oh, it's early. I have not heard that one before, but I like it. We act like I don't know. It's a feeling more than something I can articulate at this point. This was something I wanted for a long time, and it feels different. My home feels different. My life feels different with it there. We'll see if that lasts. So, had a great weekend. Let's talk about the weekend. Team was in full effect in Southern Vermont at the Vermont State Nationals, including young Michael, who came out from Ohio. I want to give a shout out to him and his father for making the trip. He did great. Was super impressed. Happy to have him on the team. He got along well with everyone else on the team. The team did really well. We had some pretty impressive performances. There was some great competition, and we definitely saw some personal bests. That was nice. It was nice to see that. What else can I say about the team? Well, we've got team tryouts for next year's team coming up this Saturday. So if any of you out there are interested, you can find the Facebook event. Whistlekick 2020 team tryouts. All the information you need is there. More Starbucks coffee. It's good. What else happened this weekend? Team went out afterwards, had a great meal, spent time with some friends Saturday night and then Sunday. Cleaned a lot. There was a lot of debris from this project. And I just kind of enjoyed being in my slightly different, feels kind of new but not quite home. Did a bunch of work outside, harvested a bunch of food, and I'm feeling ready for today. What's today? Got some meetings, phone calls, a bunch of email, lots of projects, lots of stuff. Oh, you know what's funny? I'm not drinking coffee out of this, but hold on, let me go grab something. This went up on the website last week. I don't know how well you can read it. The reflections making it top. It says, "Caution, contents may encourage inner ninja." And it's a 20 ounce insulated. Available on the site. Also available as one of the smaller, what is that, 10 or 12 ounce. They're marketed as wine glasses. And shout out to Jen for coming up with that slogan. Jen's one of the team. one of the moms on the team. Her daughter Mia is on the team. That's the easiest way to say it. So I had that in the fridge because I think I was gonna do something cold with it, but just wanted to see how cold it would get. And yeah, let's answer some questions. Got some questions. If you want to answer some questions, ask me some questions. I can answer them. It's Monday, so new episode of Martial Arts Radio with author Susan Span. Very interesting, very compelling conversation. So you should check that one out. Available right here on YouTube. All right, so today's questions are following up on some of the knife-related questions from last week. Do you have any Swiss Army knives? I actually don't. I've had a number of Swiss Army knives in the past. I do have one small Leatherman multi-tool. But I have found over the years that I've never used any of those tools. That Swiss Army knives tend to get thick, right? There are times I need a knife. There are rarely times I need a corkscrew or a file or a saw. Now, when I was a teenager, I thought these things were the coolest. I was trying to cut down trees. There's a tree in northern Maine that still has the corkscrew because I screwed the corkscrew in and I couldn't get it out. It broke off. I appreciate the history of them. I can appreciate that if I didn't have access to these other things, that maybe, like the original intention of the Swiss Army knife was for the military. Swiss Army knife, right? So if I was restricted in what was available, I can see some value there, but I'd rather just carry a knife. Do you have any survival knives? I have in the past. When I think survival knife, I think of something like a big Rambo blade with the cap on the handle that unscrews and it's got like matches and whatever. I don't have any of those. I've actually pared down my collection quite a bit. Because I don't have as much fun with them. I mean, I don't have them out because I have friends that bring children over and whatever, so that's dangerous. I don't use them. Big fixed blade knives. I'm not a hunter. Things like that. So they're cool. I mean, I love knives. I really do. I love all sorts of knives. And even though I don't carry them, I still respect them. And that leads into the third question, which is, what is the main thing to keep in mind when using a knife for self-defense? Here's a subject we can really talk about. So, nose rings out. There we go. I am far from an expert at self-defense with a knife. It is one of the reasons I carry a knife. I am, I would say, mildly competent when it comes to using them. The thing to remember when using a knife, there are a couple things to remember. One, if your opponent has a knife, you're probably going to get cut. I've done a bunch of scenario training. Not a bunch, I've done some scenario training. Especially, you put chalk on a fake knife or a stick or whatever. You always end up with chalk on you. You're going to get cut. It's the sad reality. Because knives are flailing around and stabbing and moving at 100 miles an hour. You're probably not going to adequately block it. The goal with self-defense, whether it's a knife or not a knife, is to survive. And everything you're doing is based around giving yourself the best chance of survival. Now, obviously getting cut is not good, but you're attempting to prioritize. Take that cut on your arm instead of in the chest. The other thing I think to remember is that if you're using a knife, someone's attacking you, and you're using a knife. If they're not using a knife, your options for legally permissible use are kind of narrow. This is my understanding of it. I think it, depending on the scenario, may even call some ethical questions in. Assuming that you are a skilled martial artist and you have a knife, you have time to deploy a knife, did you not have time to run away? Was that knife not enough of a deterrent to allow you to escape? Even a small blade, even a 2-inch blade can kill someone. I'm not going to say easily, but it can still hurt someone pretty bad. So you got to be careful. Don't kill anyone. Don't hurt anyone more than you have to. This is a subject that, we talk about in self-defense at times, but not often. It's an easier subject, I think, to comprehend when you're talking about carrying a firearm. I don't carry a firearm on me. Admittedly, I have them around, but I'm not someone who carries on my hip or anything. Frank says, another valuable thing I heard is if you are using a pocket knife, you should use it for slashing, not stabbing. Stabbing could lead to the knife folding and cutting your fingers. It could, and this is where a lot of knife companies put a lot of work into the lock mechanism on their knives to make sure that that's not going to happen. But if you're someone who's interested in actually training for these kind of scenarios with your knife, take that knife and set up, glue 6 or 8 inches of cardboard together and use it as a target. And take that knife and slash at it and stab at it. And it is entirely possible you're going to lose that knife when you stab in, because you're going deeper, and not to be too graphic, there are bones. That knife catches on bone, might not come out as easy. Ugh, I have a hard time talking about this stuff because it's gross. Yeah, there's a big difference in the way you're going to fight with a knife with someone who maybe is hopped up on a bunch of drugs, they're not going to feel pain, etc., versus everyone else. Most people, they take a few, my understanding of the psychology, most people are going to take a few cuts and go, wait a second, I don't want to do this. And you can get away. Your goal should always be to get away in self-defense. It should not, you're not looking to make sure everyone else runs away from you. That's not the goal. The goal is to protect yourself, and to protect yourself, removing yourself from the situation should always be job one. And everything you do should only be so much as to get you out of whatever the scenario is. So maybe you cut somebody on the arm, it distracts them, you slap them in the face, you run away. Just because someone initiates doesn't mean everything you do is appropriate. I think it would take a lot for me if someone assaulted me for me to pull a knife. I don't like hurting people. And the majority of my practice and my skill has been developed without a knife. All the things I know to do that don't leave someone severely injured or dead on the ground involve my hands, my feet. I'm fairly confident that I could get out of most things without really hurting someone, without being severely injured myself. And that's my goal. I think that should be everyone's goal, but I suppose it's not. Yeah. So, those are good questions. Go check out that episode with Susan Spann. I really enjoyed talking to her. And I think we'll wind this thing down. Homework. I just want you to contemplate what I'm talking about here with self-defense, with knives, with the idea of really injuring someone. I'm not going to give you a scenario or anything. I want you to take a couple minutes and just contemplate this. Because you don't have time to contemplate it in class, because you're drilling, you're doing things. But I think it's important for you to know, how far could you take it and under what circumstances. For most of us, we can take it farther if someone that we love is under threat than if it's simply ourselves. If you're a parent, if your child's at risk, you're probably likely to go farther or able to go farther than if it was a stranger. And it's okay to acknowledge those things. So keep in mind. Contemplate some of those ethical questions ahead of time. We're looking at bringing someone on the show who can speak to some of the legal issues around self-defense, because it's important. It's important that people understand this. But at the same time, better to be alive in prison than dead. You do what you got to do. Don't forget, subscribe, turn on notifications. We do the show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. But you can catch it later at firstcupwithjeremy.com or in your podcast app. If you want to ask a question, drop it below. I'll answer it tomorrow, or you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you have a great Monday, kicking off the week, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Peace.